I'm gonna pause it until some people hop on. Pause the recording. Me recording now. So, okay, cool. So we'll give people just a couple minutes, one more minute to see if anybody's gonna log in late, but they can catch the replay. I am down for that. Hopefully the cats will behave themselves. All right. So let me just jump in and start with this call. One of the reasons that we kind of wanted to start and talk about imposter syndrome was because Tarina put her post in the group about just generally feeling down and invisible and kind of not feeling like she can move her business forward, feeling irrelevant, and essentially just having a lot of limiting beliefs. And the responses that came for her from you all was really, really great. And I want to say it was Jackie or Sylvie suggested that this would be a great topic for us to dive a little bit deeper into. And I agree 100% because something like imposter syndrome is something that happens to everybody at every stage. I think we all kind of know that, right? Like we know the quotes of famous people who say they always felt like imposters and they always felt like frauds. So one of the things I want to try to do today is talk a little bit beyond that. So instead of just saying like, yes, this is something that we all face. Yes, we experience it all the time. How can we take some action to move out of it and or to move away from this general feeling of being an imposter? So one of the things that I just wanted to start with was, I think we all understand what an imposter syndrome is, right? Just generally feeling like no matter what we've done, we're not good. Someone's gonna think that we're fake or we're phony. We don't have enough credentials. Someone else is doing it better. We don't deserve the clients or the events or success that we have. Maybe we don't have the right, quote unquote, right background to be doing what we're doing. Whatever the case is, we all experience that at some point. Even very established, like you could be a personal stylist for a really long time and introduce a new service or a new way of doing something, or even a slightly different tweak. Say you wanted to do editorial styling or, styling for a photo shoot. Even that little bit of a tweak inside your same industry can bring up those feelings as well, because generally there may be a lack of specific experience or that little voice in our head shouting that you can't do it, you're not enough, you're not gonna have success. So one of the exercises that I really liked, there's this book called Playing Big by Tara Moore. We did this in my book club last year. And one of the things she has in here is to kind of get to know your inner critic. And something that I kind of came across in like researching for this and thinking about this is that the inner critic and this voice of imposter syndrome is never going to go away. There's nothing we're going to do to necessarily eradicate it or to never have these thoughts again. But things that we can proactively do are get to know the inner critic so we can kind of understand what and why when we're hearing or feeling these negative feelings, and have some sort of response that we can give back to that inner critic. And there are a few tactical ways that we can do this in this book, and I will put more information into the Facebook group in Kajabi if you want to do some of these exercises. But essentially, what she prompts you to do is get to know your inner critic. What is the inner critic saying to you, and how can you counteract that through examples or writing down the opposite of what it's saying? So for example, if the inner critic is saying like, oh, don't start this new program, don't start a new service, you don't have experience doing it, how can you answer back to that inner critic and say, oh, I've been a stylist for 3 years, 5 years. Maybe I don't have experience doing this, but I've done my research. I've looked online, or I've done some test work with clients, because then that way you can show your brain the other avenue to saying, okay, you really do have some of these qualifications to move forward and counteract that. A few other things that came up that I saw researching this is to feel your feelings of it, get to know those, and then start to rewrite the script. So it's a little bit of the same vein, but it's all about acknowledging like, okay, yes, I feel embarrassed or ashamed or I'm afraid. Feel the feelings so that you can then give voice to those and break the stigma of that. That was one of the biggest things that I really liked in this research of kind of fighting imposter syndrome or rewriting imposter syndrome, is giving it a name and stating it exactly like you all did in the Facebook group, because then you can start to question your thoughts and your thought process around those. So I think a really good example from the group was Rachel. She wrote that one of her limiting beliefs that can also bring imposter syndrome into play was that the value that she provides to people is only worth X amount. She says, I'm trying to get my styling business off the ground and I have such a hard time when it comes to feeling confident in charging for my services. So with that particular limiting belief, one of the things I do always recommend is, yes, like take action so you get experience, but also put, down on a piece of paper, like, what is your value? What are all of the things that you're bringing to the table? Your experience or any courses or certificates or credentials that you have. Bring in your unique background. It could be completely different from fashion, right? Like, it doesn't have to be in fashion, but that's going to frame how you work with people. You can bring in even some market research. For Rachel specifically, I don't necessarily always advocate to look at what other people are charging, but if you can, that could be a good basis for breaking that limiting belief to say other people are charging this amount. Let's just say $100. I'm charging $50. The market is bearing that I could charge this. So then you have a little bit of that background to say, okay, this is what people can charge. Then you'd still have to work on a little bit of those internal beliefs to get to that place to charge it. So some of that is valuing your time and your worth and knowing how much you need to make. I think that's a pretty important piece of it as well. And doing it over and over again will help you gain confidence. Another kind of action item that came up in some of this research was one way to overcome imposter syndrome is to just do the thing. Because a lot of times what will happen is we don't ever do anything because we get so caught up and wrapped up in that fear. And you almost have to do the thing before you're going to change the feelings. If you wait to change your feelings to not feel like an imposter or to not feel like a fraud or to not be afraid, you're never going to take action and those things are never going to go away. So it's almost like this kind of weird cycle of name your fears. Don't expect the feelings to change right away. Take action, rewrite your scripts of instead of the fears of being an imposter, rewrite that into a positive framework for yourself, and then keep doing the action and repeat that every time. And I think that imposter syndrome voice can get dimmer as you do take the action and you get confident, because essentially what it is your old primal brain trying to protect you. But really, there's nothing negative that's going to actually happen to us, right? Like in previous years, like historically, think like caveman days, their primal instincts kicked in to protect them from wild animals. That's not the same as the world we're living in today, but some of our brain is still wired into that preconceived notion. So that's what our brain is trying to protect us from. And we have to consciously tell our brains, like, hey, it's okay for me to charge this for my services. Hey, it's okay for me to launch this because I'm perfectly safe to do it. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. Any questions or thoughts? I'm going to read through some of these notes. And I want to talk about some of you all's specific limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome ideas as well. So let's see. one of the things that I'll look at Kelly's, and then we'll move to see if anybody has anything on the call. So Kelly said that she often will get stuck in her process, kind of wondering, will something work? Will she be good at it? Will she not? Will her clients find out and then they won't want to pay her? And so I kind of asked her to see, why does she think she gets stuck in the process? And part of figuring out and dimming the imposter syndrome is to just ask yourself questions. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? And how can you work around that or take action without it? So she said, one thing is because I feel like I want to do more online shopping for them and less in person. Some people have told me they want the clothes brought to them and purchased by me and returned by me. I could purchase for them when I have their credit cards in 48 hours reply. Do others take care of returns normally? So a little bit of hers is kind of logistics and process and not being confident in how she wants to do things, because there are definitely clients that are going to want different things, and you can either opt to include that in your process, or you can just say, this is not how I work. And so that's something as stylists individually you have to process. But in terms of limiting beliefs around feeling stuck, I think for Kelly specifically, I would suggest to try one avenue, or to try one of the things one of her clients wants her to do, if it's within the realm of how, of what she can realistically do on her day-to-day. Try it out and see how it works. She may find that it's easier to do it. A lot of times our brains will convince us that something's really hard. It'll throw up a lot of roadblocks, especially if it's something brand new, because it wants to prevent us from failing. So if we can ignore that feeling and take action, we're going to start to rewire some of that. And that in turn will build confidence and reduce feeling like an imposter. So I think that would be my best suggestion, is for her to just go forward and do it, try it out, and then make adjustments from her process there. One of the biggest things I think as well that can be very helpful is to almost like in your mindset as an entrepreneur is think of a lot of things as a big experiment and see how something is going to go. And then you are either going to have it go how you thought and wanted it to go, or there's a lesson that you can learn from it. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, I know myself, can often think in just very black and white, and either this went great or this sucked. I did it awesome or I failed. And there's not a lot of leeway given. And so bringing that point in can be really helpful. Nipa or Marcia, did you want to talk about your specific limiting belief or imposter syndrome? We can elaborate it on it from what you wrote in the group.
Nipa, you can go first.
Hello. I don't even remember what I wrote in the group.
Do you want me to remind you? Okay. So I'm going to summarize because there's a little...
there's a lot of stuff. I know.
It's a little long. Yeah. So I think one of yours is a little similar to Marcia's, but you're turning 40, I guess, this week, right? Or you've already... Yeah, you're like basically there. So just feeling anxious about that, the age, being sick. You've had swirling thoughts because of having to cancel appointments. So yes, you've been in your head a lot, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, so a limiting belief has to do with goals and where you think you should be by this age.
Yeah. And I think also I want to change. I've been wanting for like the last 6 months to change the direction of my business. I like the one-on-one work, but I really want to do online, like a program where, I've now analyzed it to death, and I know I want to do a membership program, but it's like, I keep waiting for either everything to be perfect, or I keep waiting. Like, I'm like not being visible. I'm being visible through my, how I normally am, which is my email communications and my posting, but I'm not being visible with videos, and I'm not being, and I'm not taking the steps I need to get that started. And now I'm like, and then I'm waiting for my website to get redone, which is taking longer than I thought. Like, it just seems like there are all these things, and I should, while that stuff is happening, and while I know I'm going into busy season at work with, spring shopping, I still have to carve out that time to move forward on that goal. Yeah. Instead of thinking like, I'll just wait another till summertime because I'll be less busy or whatever the thought is.
Right. Yeah. So what is one, can you think of? So there's two things here. One, I want to kind of ask you if you can talk a little bit about the idea of thinking that you should be further along.
I mean, that has a lot to do with being just a goal-oriented type A personality. So, you know, I worked in corporate and I was very successful at what I did. And then I made a big pivot and life change when I left to, you know, and then I took a little time off and then I launched a business. So I think that has a lot more to do with I should have been at this stage by now financially than I am, but I have to really, I know that part of it has a lot to do with the turning 40 and the feelings around that.
Yeah. As far as that goes, though, I feel like that is something that it's a little bit, I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been thinking about rewriting the definition of success for ourselves. Because there is very much this idea that we should be at a certain place or point or whatever by a certain age. And even in thinking about you going into this new program with a membership, I think that might kind of keep coming up unless you can sort of start to rewrite that for yourself, because you could be a year into your program and think, oh, I should be further along by now. Right. Still having that sort of pressure and goal on yourself. So I would kind of wonder, maybe you can answer, I think about a little, like what would be your definition of success that you can remind yourself or come back to when some of these things do start to crop up?
Yeah, I mean, what I do normally is I will look at testimonials or posts, text messages from my clients, because I truly believe in the power of the universe, because when I'm feeling like this all the time, a text comes in from a client. And one came in last week, like she was just like, hey, it's been less than 2 months we worked together, and I just wanted to let you know, like, I shopped for the first time and I wasn't terrified. I wasn't, you know, like I was still a little scared, but I did it. I'm applying for this, like, she's this really amazing interview she made to the final round for the director of global talent at another company. And that was like she's so excited. She's like, I'm so excited that I'm doing this for myself. So I hearing that was like, okay, this is just a reminder of, I may not have the numbers that I think in my head, but I'm impacting people all the time.
Yeah, good. So it definitely sounds like you have some of those things in place to help you, which is good. But in terms of doing this new program and kind of kicking that off and thinking maybe I should wait, till later because it'll be less busy. Do you think you'll actually be less busy when it's summer?
No.
Right.
Nothing's going to change. I think I have to figure out a way to carve out that time, because time is one of my limiting beliefs. And I've worked on it for a long time. Like I rewrite things and I actually change the affirmation about time. I try to, but it's always seems to be like, I'm always like, I don't have enough time in the day and I don't have enough time to get everything done. And one I know is trying to accomplished fewer things, right? Each day.
Yes.
And two, really figure out where is that time I can carve from progressing this membership idea along. That's not going to feel overwhelming. That is going to just kind of work with what I'm already doing.
Yeah. So was your limiting belief that there's not enough time?
Time is short. Not enough time, and then I feel overwhelmed, and then I go nowhere. And it's a cycle.
Yeah. So what was your rewritten version of that, the positive affirmation?
I have it somewhere. I don't know where I put it, but it's really just about reminding myself that I have time to do what I need to get done. That, the whole everything is figure outable, I'll figure it out. But, I also try when I feel that way to go for a walk also because I feel like sometimes the change of scenery helps too.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder even if you can make that affirmation a little more positive as well. Something along the lines of, my time is abundant. I have an abundant amount of time.
Abundance amount of time, yeah.
Right. Instead of almost even the like, there's enough time to get everything done. That even feels a little scarce to me, right? It feels a little frantic, of like trying to shove so much and convincing yourself you have enough time. So like time is abundant. I have an abundant amount of time. I think that could be very helpful, as well as much as possible, either having like reducing the actual tasks that you have to do, coupled with giving yourself some sort of deadline. So I know you've been getting back into being more reactive in the Founders Club. One of the things that I've been talking a little bit about are 90-day projects and 5% activities. So it's the idea that basically 5% of things that we do in our business actually move the business forward. The other 95 usually is not as productive to pushing forward a project, right? And so what is like one task that you can focus on for the next 90 days? And it sounds like it's the membership. And devote either 30 minutes or an hour. An hour might be a lot, but 30 minutes a day. But then also kind of backtracking from the idea of when you're going to launch it and what are the very specific steps that you need to do so that when you go to sit down for that 30 minutes, it's very focused. Because there are a lot of steps to doing a membership or doing something online. And so I think having this like plan of attack in the form of a 90-day project can help someone who especially is very goal-oriented.
Yeah, you're right. It's also, I think now that you're talking about it too, is like, I make the lists, I break it down. And then when I go to do the work, it's that imposter syndrome comes up again, because I think it's because it's not something I've done before. Mm-hmm. Like I know I can style and I feel more confident in that one-on-one work because I do it, I can get clients, it keeps going. But this is like a new area for me. And I think I keep going back to being like, okay, well, do I find a membership program that I sign up for? Or do I, like, how is it going to be constructed? And I'll write down some notes like, okay, this is how I want it to look. And then I'll start doubting it again. And then Facebook group, like all these thoughts keep swirling.
Yes. Yeah. So where have you landed on like one thing? Or are you still in research mode? Where are you in that process?
I think I've landed on what I want, but I think it needs to be more clearly written out for me.
Okay.
Like I need to write it out because I've written different things about it. Like initially I'd wanted to do a course and I wrote out all the things I wanted to cover and the modules and stuff. And then I was like, no, this becomes so heavy that I feel like I'll keep waiting. So then I'm like, okay, well then I'd rather do the membership because I think it makes sense for my audience and who I want to target. Because if time is one of her issues too, right? I think that this would be a better way for me to implement it because she doesn't have to devote all these hours to reading through course material. She can just come in and get a little bit of knowledge each month from me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I think, and I wonder if you can also, so let's see, you were saying you would have some imposter syndrome, one around kind of the idea of just like, sounds like the technical know-how, right? And then also a little bit around the best process, because this is what I wanted to say about that. Like with online programs, especially, they are really great, but they definitely take time to build, right? You have to market and publicize them just as much as you do your one-on-one services. And I do think sometimes they have a slower return early on, right? Because you're still growing them. Especially like memberships for courses, because memberships may be lower priced than a course. So some of the online thing, and I would kind of encourage you too, is just to, whatever you want to do, go back to that why of why you want to do it and reiterate to yourself, this is why I'm structuring it this way. This is my mission. This is how I'm using this to reach out to my audience, to my ideal client. This is how this in this format is going to help them. I would even possibly write out, since you thought about doing a course, but now you want to do a membership, write out the reasons why a course is not for your audience.
Oh, okay.
Because your brain, and I say this from experience because I started out with a course. Like I started out, I had a group program and the Biz Boot Camp was a course. And I went to the membership because one of my primary whys is I wanted to make resources more accessible, especially to beginning stylists, because it's not easy to come by those resources. Things are very expensive, right? Courses were like $1,000. And usually if you get coaching from someone, it's pretty expensive. So I kind of had to come back to that a lot when I was like, oh, maybe the course would be better. Maybe that's what people want. So writing out why it is not for you and why you're not choosing to do that can also help keep you focused.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's a really good exercise to do, is to write down why I chose to go in that other direction, because I know it's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that would make, I almost have to like, yeah, because I have to like write it, and I literally have to like write it in a big sheet of paper in front of my face, because then I'll to get myself back on it. That's a really good way to think about it. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Try that.
I would also definitely recommend giving yourself this, I guess to be an internal deadline, right? But if you can stick within the 90 days, and this is something I learned from one of my mentors, and they basically said, if you can't complete and finish a project in 90 days, it's either too big or you shouldn't take it on right now. As one person, that can sometimes maybe be a little bit harder than if you have a team of people. But I definitely think if that is your primary focus, that you are focused on with all of your extra free time, right? So I would say right now, do whatever you need to do to keep your one-on-one clients, do the work for them. If you're getting new one-on-one clients, do that. But then your secondary area of focus is going to be this membership. And so it's March 1st coming up. So I would say March, April, May, if you could have that deadline of June 1, that you're like, okay, this is ready to go. It's launched. I can like market it. I can accept people. You can work backwards over those 3 months to space out what exactly it is you need to do and chunk it down into tasks that it's like you just sit down and do them. You don't have to then think about, is this a good idea to do this or not do this? You've already made that commitment and decision of this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, okay, if you have a membership and you want to have a Facebook group with it, great. Make the Facebook group, write the description.
Yeah. Start
the image. You know what I mean? Like
I even wrote down the Facebook group, like the things I want to say. Like I have it all. It's like all written down. It's just the action step of creating the actual Facebook group to get that started and to come, and to write, because that will take some time to do. But also I think when I like what you said is I still have to, I think also, I still have to do the one-on-one work because that's what's bringing me money. Otherwise I'm not making money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, cause I feel like some people start these other programs, but I'm like, well, like you can't just, maybe that's how they start their businesses. They haven't done anything else before, but like, for me, it's like, no, I have this one-on-one work and I don't necessarily want to stop doing it. I enjoy it, but I know it can only do so much of it because of the amount of time, personal styling takes.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do think it will be important for you to just like have that like tunnel vision.
I know I have to really get focused.
Yeah. So one-on-one clients, because they make you money, tunnel vision on the next project, because that's what you're headed. And so this is, I think, something too that a lot of stylists are interested in. So in terms of like online, I think Marcia, you've mentioned it too, like online styling, virtual membership stuff. So we can definitely talk about this more in depth as well. And I can kind of share my experience and platforms I've used, what I'm using now, pros and cons, if we want to talk about that as well. So if there are like technical questions that you're facing as you come up on it, Nipa, like definitely put them in a group, because I know Amanda and then Sylvie, they also have online memberships.
Yeah, I talked to Sylvie and she's like, Nipa, do it. And I still say
yes, exactly.
So I'm like, oh my God, it's really just me. I gotta get back.
So what's one of the
in my head, I always have to have things in an order, and then I get all like, when it comes off of order, I get all like, oh my God, I can't do it. Then I gotta stop that. I gotta just do
it. Yeah, because you won't know how to accurately take the next step until you take the first one.
Yeah.
And it's never going to all fit all together perfectly. So you just have to start. And I would say, I know one of the things you said is kind of a limiting belief around time, that you're still working through it. So working into that time is abundant is there a very specific like way you can take action on that to give yourself, and I would try to even avoid saying to carve out time, because that's suggesting that you don't have it and you have to create it.
Okay.
You have the time, it's there, it's very abundant. So where can you just plug it in?
Yeah.
To start to even maybe reserving a couple hours block on your calendar, if you can, on a certain day, on a certain afternoon.
Yeah.
And just have that repeat for the 90 days.
I think that I initially have to start with 1 day a week. And then once I get momentum, then I'll find the more, because I'll get excited. So I'll find the time to do it more often during the week.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can commit that 1 day for a few hours, because, you know, like writing, you have to be in the right mindset to do some of that work.
Yes, I agree. But I also do think too, just creating that discipline for yourself and saying, okay, I think I hear this a lot from writers, right? They say they sit down and they write regardless of how they feel. And usually by the time they're done, they've kind of gotten into that flow and they like it. They don't always necessarily feel like doing it when they go into it.
Okay.
So I would definitely say create the discipline, because sometimes if you wait for that excitement and you wait for that motivation, you may never find it.
That's true.
So try to find a balance between that, right? Like definitely work when you feel inspired and motivated, but also have that disciplined time on your calendar to maybe do some of the stuff that's more admin-y, like make the Facebook group, right? Versus that creative writing piece of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Marcia, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, Nipa, just for you to understand a little bit about me, I'm Brazilian. I live here in US for 11 years now, and I wish I was 40 years old. I'm much older than you. I'm going to be 60 this year. So it's something that I have been thinking a lot. Not exactly what I do and my clients, but also how can I imagine my work in 5 years, for example, because I don't plan to get retired soon. So how can I change and, also pay attention what's going on in the world? So just for Nipa to know, I open and I still have a website with a Brazilian person that's bilingual, but I felt that I needed to have something here just for the people that cannot speak Portuguese. So I started a website in the end of the year, and I had no expectations. I didn't spend lots of money. It was something very simple with somebody I know, and I'm getting inquiries more than I thought. I look at my Squarespace analytics and I can't believe.
That's so great, because you were really worried about that.
Yes, and people, I'm getting inquiries, and of course, people that don't know me. And I sold like packages. I know I have a color analysis in 2 days. I'm gonna do someone that I haven't. She came to the site. So, it's happening. Of course, not a gigantic amount of people, but it's happening. Okay. I also, Nipa, I started a Facebook group because I'm the person that's gonna talk for us in 2 weeks, Shannon. I'm part of their group, their paid group. And she's always saying that Facebook, it's everything about groups. But I thought, why I'm gonna open a group if I have a business page? What for? Yeah. So I joined my friend that's a statistician. She just started a new business, and she's in an area that we can share clients. So we open and we talk about beauty and style.
Oh, that's
a good idea.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Yeah, the name is Project 101, where beauty meets style.
Oh, that's cute.
I
It's
like
good. No, it took us a long
A
time.
while. The name is everything.
So we started this, and really people feel great because if I do like for example, yesterday I talked about Jill Sander fashion show, which is very chic, very simple, neutral colors, and I feel that women are wanting this now. So I posted and I said, go to your wardrobe, grab what you have, create looks and post here. And if you think, where is the place that you can ask your clients or followers, whatever, to do this? They cannot do at the Instagram. They cannot do at your blog, Facebook.
And I have really high engagement on Facebook on my business page. So I know I'll get engagement. I know it's time. I want a private space where they can talk freely about some of their style issues. But again, I want it to be a collaborative space because I don't want it to be me just giving advice all the time. It's me prompting things like you're doing, giving them an idea without it being free advice.
Yeah. I mean, this is, we have no intention of having a paid group. I mean, for now we don't. But when I see my analytics of the new website, people are coming from my page, my Facebook page. It's unbelievable. Facebook is not bad, at least for my ideal client. My ideal client is 40, 56, sometimes 35. They still look at the Facebook.
They do. That's
they do.
My clients.
It was a good surprise. Another thing is I did what they said. I started my Pinterest, my business Pinterest, and clients are coming. I mean, they are getting my website through Pinterest. So sometimes it's where to put our 5%.
Yes.
So my question now is, I developed an online 101 styling process. I did a beta test with 2 people, but they both are super, super busy. So it came out a very long thing. Now I want to start doing, charging and putting this more structured. I have a help of someone that does online class and mentoring. And also I joined Good Pics.
Yeah. Okay.
I never had the other one. What's the name?
Hue and Stripe.
Yes. So I thought Good Pics, it's made by women. So let's, I joined and I'm start working with, but I don't know yet what I'm going to do with my clients and Good Pics. That's something that I need to figure out. And I like the 101 thing. I don't mind doing. Even if it's going to take more time. And so my question is how I put this together, because if I need to be at home, to have a call with you, to do like the admin stuff, I want to make money in this day I'm at home, that's right. my thought now. I don't know if I'm wrong.
So, okay, hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding. Are you saying how you still want to make money on your day when you're at home?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Or so either through what, like an online?
Yes, because the day I go and see a client, it's work. But the days I stay at home, I could have some calls with a styling online program, which the name is virtual styling for me. So I would like to make like the 2 or 3 days I'm at home to do some work.
Okay. Right. Got it. So I wonder if the time blocking model calendar method might work for you, and that you have, say, 2 days that you go to the city or you go to shop with clients, like you're out of the home in clients' homes, right? You do that 2 days a week. And then I do think it's probably important that you have 1 day maybe that's set aside for just admin or whatever, but maybe for your schedule, it works out better that you do that over a couple days, but it's like in the mornings, right? And then maybe your afternoons could be reserved for virtual styling clients, right? So then you could say, okay, for example, Thursdays and Fridays, you're out and about in clients' homes, personal shopping with them. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have those days as home days. So then maybe your schedule is flexible on those 3 days to where you have blocks open for styling clients. It wouldn't necessarily have to be that you only do them in the afternoons, right? So then you can just you keep the blocks, but you move them around. So your clients can choose from Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. And if they want a 10 a.m., then you just move whatever admin tasks you had to 2 p.m. If that works for you. Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yes. It's I need to figure out how to do this, how to find this client for the online service. In my mind, I know who is my client for the online service, but I need to talk to them. And also how I will do with good pics. If I will think about trying to do like a test. The next clients having like a 3 months using the good pics and the because I have some ideas for it's for the how can I say the storefront that I can use like based on colors or on style or and they could have the access for 3 months. And then what should I do? This I still don't know how I'm gonna be using this good pics, except the way I'm using now. I'm writing blog posts for, let's see, monochromatic, and then I put some examples in different prices. They can go to their link and shop.
Okay.
Doing this.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I think when I last talked to the Good Pics people, they were Pixavo. So just to catch me up, the Good Pics does basically like shopping links, and then it also does outfits, right? Like you can make outfit collages.
Yes, you can do outfit collages. You can have like many boards as you want. For example, I'm gonna have different boards for the color analysis I do. I can have the micro website of each client. I can send ideas to the clients of looks, of things they could buy or just have as an inspiration. And I'm using the link into I asked them, I want to use the link in my blog, because if I'm gonna sit to write a blog post, I know there is a follower that is never gonna hire me, but they can read my blog post and shop something.
Right.
I'm doing this.
So I wonder, so it sounds like, right, if you have a client you're working with for 3 months and you give them access to Good Pics, their own profile, that doesn't necessarily go away when you stop your 3 months of working with them, right?
I don't know what
Is that what you're trying to figure out?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's almost would be like a membership, like something to pay every quarter, every season. I don't know. I really don't know what to do.
Right. So you said you've worked with 2 virtual clients?
Yes.
I wonder if it would make sense to almost do a mini survey or ask them some questions about what would they use, what would maybe they like to see if you were to offer some sort of maybe quarterly or monthly membership or continued access to it, instead of kind of creating something and then hope it's like the right fit. Could you use some of those clients to give you a little bit of feedback?
Yes, and they both love the idea of having this.
Okay. So they love, when you say this, what does that mean? Does that mean a quarterly membership?
We have a microsite where they could look at their clothes, and if I find something that I know it's going to fit their style, their budget, they are going to see there and they are able to decide to buy or not.
Okay.
Or,
right.
They like the idea. It would be like something to continue.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how to do this. And of course, I could use good pics for my not virtual clients. Not my real.
Correct. Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I don't know how people do this. I know that some people do like memberships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what would be a good idea.
Right. Well, I mean, if they're paying you some sort of quarterly subscription, they're essentially on a membership,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think it's just trying for you to figure out that balance of what people are going to pay of every month or every quarter versus your time of what you're going to do.
Yes.
So obviously when you first launch this, there's going to be probably more hours than dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
For that ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's almost a matter of just kind of trying it, right? Like doing it. You don't want to make something too high of a price though, and then feel like it's too much and lower it. So that's my only like hesitation of saying, just throw something out there. It's kind of like, if you are going to start with something, I would start with a lower price so that you can raise it as you figure it out and as you kind of work out kinks and see what people want to pay, what's that value for what they're getting, and what the time you're having to put into it. So it sounds like you're thinking about a quarterly or something. What do you think that would entail price wise?
I really don't know how. I know that I have like clients that I went to their room, their home, and I did her closet, color analysis and everything. And the other day she said, oh, I need to buy family links and I'm going to pay you. So for them, it's a very easy this. So she would be a good person to fit in this membership thing. But I don't think it's for everyone.
Right.
And also, this thing of putting the links in my blog post, it was something that I wanted for a long time, because I know some bloggers that are very, they are not like sales, they are very into their, let's say, personal style, and then do a very good thing, in my opinion. But they have lots of readers, so they could contact the store, and the store would say, oh yes, please post, and then I give you a commission. But the way I did with good pics, it's like I can do the same. So one day I can get money for this, and even what the clients pay doesn't mind, but I don't know if it's gonna happen.
So the only thing I can think of, so with your, for example, with your one client who reached out to you that says she needs some links, I almost think with that, like with your existing clients, it kind of makes more sense for them to maybe not be in a membership, because you might make, I don't want this to like sound bad, but you might make more money by them not being in the membership because they need like a one-time higher level of service, right? Like it might take you, I don't know, 2 hours, 2.5 hours that you would charge whatever your rate is. I guess what I'm thinking is like, if she's coming to you and it's like, I need 10 links, that might be more than what you want to provide in a membership, right? Your individual clients might need or want more than what the capacity would be for you to do in a membership. So I'm almost wondering if the membership is for, maybe it's not for all of your individual clients, maybe some, it would be a good fit, right?
Yeah. And also, because if I do this microsite for my clients, for example, this one, she's a good candidate. I need to do the microsite for everyone. I should, but I'm going to start with the ones I think they would enjoy. So if I do a microsite for her and she says, oh, I have a wedding, I can put all the links there, because they have department stores. So we have access to lots of options.
Yeah, so I think that is good. So that sounds similar to the Hue and Stripe when I was using it. Every client gets like a profile and you can add links. I think that sounds great and you should definitely use that for your individual clients. I think just trying to figure out the membership and how that's going to work, because I think there's going to be like your individual. So if you had clients in a membership, the idea is that you could send one set of links to everybody and say, or something, and this is what I'm thinking in my head, like, here's what you get for your month of membership. Here are 10 pieces or whatever that I think are great or that I think might fit your style profile. But that is probably going to be too broad or not specific enough for like individual clients on their microsites. Does that make sense?
No, I think you'd use the microsite to do this.
Right. I think what I'm saying is, I think if every client in a membership, so say every client was paying you $50 and you had 10 of those clients.
Okay.
And you said, okay, it's $500 a month from these 10 clients. And I've promised them,
Okay.
say I've promised each of them 10 specific links. How long is that going to take you to do 10 links of microsite things for your membership clients? And is that worth the $500 that you're getting?
I get it. Okay.
I think so in memberships, it can be a little less individual. Because the idea is that you're not having to do that individual time as much, unless you had one thing that is almost similar to this, right? Like, here's a group call or here's a group setting where I have a chunk of time, but I can talk to multiple people and give you very specific information for your specific thing, but it's not something that I'm committed to. Because what if that membership grows and you have 100 clients? You're not gonna be able to do 10 links 100 times every month. It's just gonna be too, like, you're still doing individual work, right? So the idea with a membership is you're cutting out a lot of the individual work.
Yeah.
And doing it more group based.
That's why I'm not convinced if I want membership,
Right.
I like the idea of having the microsite.
Yes.
But maybe it's gonna be for some clients, not all of them. I can introduce the possibility.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the microsite is great for your one-on-one clients, whether they're in person or virtual. Some may like it, some may not. I think that's something that Sylvie experienced when she was using Hue and Stripe with her one-on-one clients. Some of them liked the platform and the technology and some didn't. They just didn't, I don't know, think it was as easy to use or whatever. And so that may be a similar situation.
Yeah. But anyway, only this possibility of putting the links in my blog post, I'm loving it. It's something
that's great. I love
it. Writing a post, it takes time.
Yes, I know.
At least there is something that I can add, but that's tasteful, and I put like different price because I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you seeing that people are clicking those links, or is it bringing you traffic?
It's very recent.
Okay.
Because Good Picks really started in mid-December. We couldn't do this really with the other 9 days.
Gotcha.
So then it was end of the year, and now I'm writing more posts. And let's see, I need time to check this.
Yes. Yeah. That's what we always talk about, right? You need time to let it grow and do its thing.
It's a fun thing to do. It's not bad. I mean, I do very quickly. Let's see.
Good. Okay, cool. So it sounds like you're leaning more into staying with your one-on-one.
Yes.
But doing it online and doing virtual styling.
Doing online also. I would say it's for someone that doesn't want me to go to her house. I don't know why, or she lives a little bit far away.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I like that you thought about the membership, but then maybe decided that it doesn't make sense for you or you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Only because I think sometimes people do. How do I want to say it? I think they are very popular. And so I think a lot, you know, and I'm not saying anybody's doing this because I also have a membership, but like a lot of times people see them and they think, oh, I can create this thing really quick and make a lot of money. And they just do it because they think it's the next big thing versus like thinking it through. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I like that we have Nipa, who is like thought and like, this is what my audience needs. And you who thought that's not what they need this. And this is how I want to work. So yeah, I like that you guys have each thought that through and made the right decision based on those reasons.
Yeah. But you're so right about not doing what everyone else is doing, because it has to be right for your business, client, the right, like I know that I'm filling a void. I see it because of all the people who don't book one-on-one with me. Like I'm getting so much.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And that can kind of, you know, also go into your why to kind of remind you like, this is why I'm doing it. And then that sounds also like a great base of people to start with, to introduce this to say, you talk to me.
Yeah, I do feel like I have a list in my head already of people.
Yeah. And I think, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I need to not worry about anything else.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think it was interesting, like there's another girl, she asked me to join in, you know how you do the monthly calls with different people? He has a health business, health and wellness business, and she asked me to join her call. You know, we're going to do it in I think May or June. But it was interesting, and I was talking to her about what made her want to start it, and she's like, Nipa, like people will find the time. They'll find you if they want to make that commitment.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that is hard for us to swallow sometimes as business owners because we just want everybody to work with us, right? Or like, and so trying to just stick with, this is what I feel like is right for me and my business and my clients, and the right people do find you and will come to you and will pay and will make the time. So yeah, cool. Love it.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So we've got two calls next month. One is next week because I'm going to be gone 2 weeks in March, but we'll have another call basically next week, and then it'll be 2 weeks. Is that right? Yeah, on the 4th, and then the last week of March will be our industry expert with Shannon. Is that?
Yeah, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be traveling next week. But yes, I like Shannon. She helped me a lot with many things.
Yeah, she's great. I love when she can come.
I mean, it's like a membership. It's,
exactly. She has a membership.
I don't like. For me, for social media, it helped me a lot.
Good. I'm glad. I love that.
To know where to go, and because if we let social media, it's going to be our full-time job. So yeah, we don't want this.
No, we do not. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to do this. So delegating and as much as we can. So I'm going to talk more about that this year too, because we want to do it all and we can do it all, but we need to have people to help us do it all.
Yeah. And also I think it would be a good idea to have a call if people show up, like to discuss how their new projects are going, like membership or online, whatever it's new for them. I think it's good. I feel that people here are so transparent to say, oh, it's not doing good. Oh, it's
right. Yeah.
I'm not getting clients from there. Oh no, nobody clicked my links yet. No, but I hope one day they're gonna click. You know. I think there's. Yeah.
That might almost be like there's like a word for it. Mastermind is not really quite the word, but like almost like a mini mastermind to say, hey, come to this call, bring your most current project.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's working, what's not working, and other people who have done things can share and give feedback. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'll plan that for maybe midway through the year might be a good time.
Yeah. And everyone that has a new thing going on.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you ladies so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye. Have a good afternoon.
Bye. You too. Bye. Bye, Nipa.
Bye.